And Sean O'Connell covers the Utes for ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City, and tonight he makes his game day debut. We welcome you to Provo. Good to see you tonight.
Thanks for having me on. Glad to be here. Go Utes, right, everybody?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Let's jump into some hot topics and pick your brain a little bit. Devon Dampier and Bear Bachmeier, neither have played a game of this magnitude. They've never been in this game. They've never even thought about this game until this year. So who has the edge tonight?
Well, I mean, the fact that neither have actually felt the stakes of this game and been raised in the culture of this game, I think is an advantage for both of their teams. As individuals, I don't know if it helps one or the other of these players, but their numbers are very, very similar. And they come in playing loose, playing free, not having a history with this rivalry, having a history with this game in particular. I would say that the more experienced quarterback who's seen a little bit more, he's going to be thrown a lot of different looks by Jay Hill tonight, Devon Dampier. He probably has a slight advantage here. But I actually think for both teams, it ends up being a good thing that their quarterbacks have not played in this rivalry game yet.
Yeah, no reason to not be poised when you don't know what's going on, right? So, okay, Jack Kelly, Isaiah Glasker, Cialia Sarah, BYU's linebacking core, straight up against Dampier and the way Utah utilizes him in the run game. How do you see that matchup going?
Well, the linebacking core for BYU might be the best in the conference, one of the best in the country probably, and Utah needs to have a mobile quarterback in order to get through that. But I think the key here for the Utes is that they've got two super reliable running backs, whereas BYU, it's more the L.J. Martin show, and then there's a significant drop-off when you go to the backups there. Now, Kerry Rogers and Wayshawn Parker, combined with Devon Dampier, are going to make at least two of those linebackers think about things, freeze up just a little bit. There are going to be some option plays in this offense today for Devon Dampier where he can give, he can pitch. Maybe he'll just run that straight speed option down the line of scrimmage. And I think that's going to be a key here because the running backs for Utah, there are three guys in the run game on this Utes team that can hurt BYU's defense. And that means all three BYU linebackers are going to have to be incredibly disciplined in order to stop it.
Sean, I think amongst all the games, amongst all the rivalry games that we have between these two teams, I think this year is probably a year where there's been or is the most parity across the board in terms of talent, in terms of on-the-field production. BYU's number 2 in run defense in the Big 12, number 2 in the run offense in the Big 12. Utah's number 1 in rush offense, number 8 in rush defense. Something has got to give tonight. What do you think that is?
Well, my hope is that the something that gives is that BYU rush defense has not yet faced an offensive line and a rushing attack like Utah's got. And I think that is true. I think even the most royal blue-blooded fan would say that you have not been tested the way you should be tested tonight. Last week against Arizona State, that was a really good rush defense that Utah went up against, and they ran up about 300 yards on that team. So I'm hoping that's what gives. My fear is that this BYU wide receiving core is a better group than Utah has seen so far in their defensive backfield this year. Obviously, last week, Jordan Tyson at Arizona State, as an individual, incredible player. But Smith Snowden and Blake Cotton and Scooby Davis, they took him away. 8 catches, only 40 yards. That's because he had to account for one guy, really.
Right.
Not tonight. You got 4 threats, I think, in this BYU offense that Utah's going to have to take care of.
Sean, you've covered this Utah Utes program for quite some time now. You've been around Kyle Whittingham. In your opinion, is this Kyle's last game here at LES?
I think it is. I think this is his last year, and I think the only thing that changes that is if he feels like tonight he doesn't get some decent closure. I really do believe that this is Kyle Whittingham's right off into the sunset year. I think he's got the personnel, the coaching staff, the offense finally that can send him off on a high note. But he's also so competitive, and you know this, he's competitive that if he loses 3 in a row to the BYU Cougars, is he really going to say, I'm done here? He's not going to, by the way.
If he does, how do you think Kyle wants BYU fans to remember him?
I think Kyle Whittingham wants to be remembered as a good man, as a football guy, right? Just like his own dad was, just a football guy, a tough, hard-nosed, and a man of integrity. I think that BYU fans, as much as you don't like the Utah version of Kyle Whittingham in this rivalry, he did at one time play here,
right,
and was a conference player of the year here. 4, 5, 6, 10 years after he retires and hangs it up, I think BYU fans are going to be kind of like Utah fans are with Lavelle, where you say, man, what a great person he was to lead our rival. What a great person he was to be a figurehead of football in the state of Utah. And I think that's going to be the legacy of Kyle Whittingham, regardless of what happens today or for the rest of the season or how he finishes out his career. Maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year, whatever. But I think that everyone is going to remember Kyle Whittingham for being the hard-nosed, respectable guy that he is.
So how hard is it? Is it harder to win a mixed martial arts championship, which you've done several times, or to pick the score of tonight's game?
Well, it's easy to pick the score for me tonight. It wasn't all that easy for me to have a decent fight career. It was harder for me to have any kind of football career, I'll tell you that. I wasn't able to do that. And in fact, that's the grievance I have with BYU Sports Nation here, BYU TV. You found the worst Utah football player you could find to come on during rivalry week? Look, Utah's going to win this game. I know nobody here wants to hear me say that. 23-20, it's going to be close, and BYU covers if that's the case. So 23-20, Utah is now firmly in control of that second spot, so to speak, in the Big 12 Conference. Although, do we have an update on what's going on with Arizona State, Texas Tech?
ASU was ahead.
Arizona State
19-7, Arizona State right now.
All right. Yeah, that's
a shocker.
Fourth quarter.
Tech, of course, has the backup quarterback who diced up Utah. Can he make magic happen? Is that on purpose?
Checks in the mail.
Only one here on the desk has made magic happen. He's right over there. Sean O'Connell, ESPN 700, covering the Utes. Thank you so much.
Listen
for your
11 to
insight.
2 every day on ESPN 700.
There you go.
Good to have you with us.